All right, we're going to get started with Unit 11. And in Unit 11, we're going to be talking about figures that are both similar and congruent. These are words that you probably have heard before in your different geometry units. So we're just going to review a couple definitions to get started, and then probably add on to what you've done before. So to get started, similar figures have the same shape but not necessarily the same size. Um, so if you look at the two triangles to the right, triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF. So they do have the same shape, but they are not the same size. When we talk about corresponding parts of similar figures, we're talking about the sides or angles that have the same relative position. Another thing to note is this symbol right here. That means similar. So triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF. Another thing to note is that the corresponding angles of similar figures are congruent. Congruent is another word for equal. So if you look at angle A, that is congruent to angle D. And this symbol right here means congruent. So it has an equal sign with the similar symbol on top. So again, angle B is similar to angle E, and angle C is congruent to angle F. So all of these angles are congruent within the two similar figures. Another thing to note is that the ratio of the lengths of the corresponding sides of the similar figures, they are equal. So if you look at side AB, that ratio, 5 to side DE, the ratio 5 to 10, those are equal. So it equals 1/2. It's the same as BC, 3 over 6. BC over EF, so 3 over 6. And AC would be 4. And DF would be 8. So all of those ratios equal 1/2. Whoops, I jumped too far ahead there. There we go. All right, so let's look at our first example. We're given the triangle JKL is similar to triangle PQR, and we're going to name the corresponding angles and the corresponding sides. So again, this symbol here means that the two triangles are similar. And what we're going to look at is the way that the triangles are named. So JKL, that means that angle J, that angle is congruent to angle P because those are the first letter named of the triangle. So if we use that same logic, then angle K is congruent to angle Q. Again, those are both the second letter. And then lastly, angle L, that is congruent to angle R. So those are all of our angles that are indeed congruent. We're now going to look at our sides and name our corresponding sides. So again, we're going to use the position of the letters and naming the triangles to help us. So side JK, those are the first two letters. That ratio is equal to side PQ. Because they are not similar or congruent sides, we simply use a dash to denote that they have the same ratio. So again, that would be side KL to side QR. And last but not least, side LJ, that ratio is going to be the same as RP. Please note that you can write the side of a triangle or any figure for that matter with just a line over it, a line segment. This is the angle symbol right here. And then that again is congruent, and this up here is similar. So let's look at the two sets of figures here. It says these figures are similar. Find the ratio of the lengths of the corresponding sides of figure A to figure B. So we want to remember that we're going from A to B. So we can first look at BC, this side here. We're going to have 9 over now we're going to look at side LK, or KL, sorry. And that is 12. So we have 9 over 12, which simplifies to 3 over 4. We also have side CD here. That equals 15 meters. And that is similar to this side here. JK, with a side of 20, which also simplifies to 3/4. So those ratios are in fact the same. I'm going to let you try number 2, again going from figure A to figure B, and you should get the same ratio. Alrighty, moving right along, we're going to talk about finding measures of congruent figures now. Congruent figures do have the same shape and the same size. So it says given figure EFGH, that is congruent to figure PQRS. We're going to find the indicated measures. So we're looking for the angle, measure of angle P. If you notice, P is the first letter and E is the first letter, so it's going to be equal to 98 degrees. Next, if we look at the measure of angle F, F is our second letter, so that's going to correspond to angle Q, which is right here, and that's 126 degrees. Next, we're looking for side RQ, which is this side right here, and that corresponds to GF right here, which is 8 centimeters. Last but not least, we're looking at finding the measure of EF. So that corresponds to PQ, which is 15 centimeters. All right, we have a word problem to finish us off. It says a rectangular banquet room has a length of 36 meters and a width of 24 meters. The rectangular dance floor in the middle of the banquet room has a length of 16 meters and a width of 10 meters. Is the dance floor similar to the banquet room? So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to draw us a picture. This is our banquet room. And again, it has a length of 36 meters and a width of 24 meters. I'm now going to draw my dance floor, which is in the middle. And my dance floor has a length of 16 meters and a width of 10 meters. Now we need to see that our ratios are the same. So I can say 24 over 10, which reduces or simplifies to 12 over 5. And then I can say 36 over 16, and that simplifies to 9/4. So these ratios are not the same, so these figures are not similar. If they were to be similar, we would have in fact gotten a ratio that was the same. Alrighty, you have 2 review problems to finish off this section. Again, make sure you do the entire set of notes before moving to your check-in, and ask your teacher if you have any questions. Thanks.